What's up guys, Fooch from Fooch TV. Today was a very big day, and in this video we're going to be talking about Joo-bin's sentence. We're going to be talking about some of the sentences for the other Boxabong operators as well as some of the users and one of the operators of the Nth Room. That's all coming up right now. As I mentioned, today was a very big day for Boxabong, Joo-bin, and some of the other operators and criminals involved in this. Today, approximately 8 months after Joo-bin's name was revealed to the public, which you can see in one of the very first YouTube videos I made right there, he was sentenced to jail time along with a couple of the other operators and one of the operators of the Nth Room. We're going to get to that in just a moment. I was actually supposed to be making a video last week on November 19th talking about the prison sentences of Gakot and An Sung-jin. However, suddenly the judge postponed those sentences to an unknown time. However, we do have Watchmen, and if you don't remember, Watchmen was arrested a couple of years ago for posting illegal photographs online. He got a slap on the wrist, or as they say, he was hit with that cotton bat. He got a few months probation, and he went straight back to doing it with his website, AV Scoop. And he also joined Nth Room and Boxabong, where he was promoting that through a Telegram channel called Gotham. Now, when he was arrested in September 2019, the cops actually did not know yet that he was involved in the Nth Room. He was just arrested for running his site AV Scoop and a couple of other illegal websites. But then they eventually found out that he was part of the Nth Room, and he played a kind of a big role in there. And he was sentenced about a week ago to 7 years in jail. I personally think this is quite weak. My basis for that is a couple of months after Joo-bin got arrested, someone actually had collected a lot of the videos from the Nth Room and Boxabong and were selling them on Telegram again, and he got 5 years in jail. And I think he was a first-time offender as well. So we compare that to Watchmen, who was arrested a few years ago for doing a similar crime and then got arrested again for doing a similar crime while he was on probation. And he was also involved in the Nth Room during that time. So all of that, clearly this dude has a problem. Clearly he had no intention to stop, and maybe he won't have an intention to stop after he gets released in 7 years. They gave him 7 years, where they gave the previous guy 5 years just for reselling content that came from the Nth Room. Now on to the Boxabong people. I'm going to start from the weakest sentences first and work my way up. First, we have two people whose full names were not released. The first guy we have, his surname is Im, or I pronounce in English Lim. And then we also have Jang. They are not operators. However, they were just paid members of Boxabong. We know that there are a lot of paid members, so it's unclear why specifically these two are receiving jail sentences, while many of the other operators, as you saw in an update I made, or as you saw in the Boxabong video, I talked about how they are going after people who paid to go into Boxabong as well as free users. So it's not clear why these two guys are only given a prison sentence. Maybe we have to wait for more of them to be given a prison sentence. I'm not sure yet. But Im was sentenced to 8 years in jail, and Jang was sentenced to 7 years in jail. And the idea was it was because of them that Joo-bin and Boxabong existed, customers like them, people who were willing to pay for the content, which is why those two individuals received jail time. Now on to Emo Goon, 16 years old. He was actually the second in command for Boxabong. His codename was Pacific. Now that did not come out in my Boxabong video that I made recently, simply because there was just no information about this guy. Again, the police are very secretive about this. They don't want copycat crimes to exist. Also, a lot of the news reports are all over the place. It's very, very, very difficult to piece all this information together. Either I simply missed it or it wasn't released. However, he was sentenced to jail. He was given 10 years in jail with a possible early release in 5 years. This was the largest sentence given in juvenile court. Remember, he's only 15 years old, or excuse me, he was 15 years old when the crime happened. He's 16 now. He was tried in juvenile court, which is, they're quite lenient. There have been cases in the past where juveniles have done very terrible things and they've gotten very, very, very light prison sentences. However, he was given, this 10 years, a possible early release of 5 years, which is the largest sentence ever given in juvenile court. He participated in the group and also spread the material. Next, we have Kang, or one of the Kangs. This guy's the 24-year-old. He was the formal social worker who not only participated in Boxabong, but this is the piece of crap who also paid, or who has been harassing his high school teacher for the past decade, threatening her. He went to jail once because he kept stalking her. The second he got out, even though she had changed her phone number, she had changed her address, she had changed her name, he found her again. He threatened to kill her child. He even paid Joo-bin approximately $4,000 to kill her child. He received 13 years in jail. Now, that may not sound like a lot for attempted murder, or I'm not sure what the charge is when you pay someone to kill somebody. However, we're talking about Asia here. We're specifically talking about Korea. All prison sentences are very light, and 13 years is quite heavy for, spreading the material of the Boxabong and paying to have this child killed. And the judge explained that the reason for this sentence was not because of the sexual exploitation part of the crime. It was mostly for the fact that he could possibly murder someone, or he was capable of murdering someone, or at least paying someone to murder someone. Next up, we have Joo-bin's accomplice Lalo, aka Chun, 29 years old. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison. He's been active since the early days of the Boxabong, aka Doctor's Room, and has a history of filming sexual videos since 2016. This guy was also not in my previous Boxabong video. Not a lot of information. Even the sentence, he received 15 years. It's unclear why he received 15 years and Im and Jang only received 8 and 7 and whatnot. There's not a lot of details. That's all the information I have. And lastly, we have the big fish himself, Joo-bin. Now, although the prosecutors were trying to get a life sentence for him, and also some activists were also trying to get a life sentence, today he received a whopping 40 years in jail. Now, on my thoughts about the sentences, I thought Gakot, who's not been sentenced yet, remember, I thought Gakot would get 20 years, and I thought Joo-bin might actually get life in jail. However, 40 years, that number, it sounds reasonable to Westerners watching this. It might even sound a little generous to Westerners watching this. The 40 years in Korea is absolutely insane. Nobody gets that high of amount. The reason for this not only includes all the crimes associated with creating Boxabong and, coercing other girls and whatnot, but it's also for, remember I said in the last video, creating a criminal organization, because the number of people in Boxabong was over a certain amount. I think it had over 13 operators and a whole bunch of people contributing as well. I can't remember offhand. I think the number for criminal organization might be 13, it might be 26, one of those numbers. If you create a group and commit a crime that big, you're automatically creating a criminal organization, which actually can be punishable by death. So 40 years is quite a lot, and I think I'm pretty pleased and satisfied. Now we know that Gakot is probably going to be receiving somewhere between 20 and 40 years. Again, I don't think Gakot's sentence is going to be as big as Joo-bin's, because Joo-bin was doing it for money. It was profit driven, whereas Gakot was doing it to explore or satisfy his sexual desires. However, Gakot was the one that created the initial scheme or the initial idea for doing all this. So I might be wrong on this. He might get more than 40 years. I don't think so. I'm still sticking between 20, maybe 25 years in jail. That's all I have to say today. Boxabong started about a year ago. It only ran for a couple months, but a lot of damage was done, and it's very nice for once to see justice, proper justice done in Korea. But I want to hear what you guys think. Do you guys think that Joo-bin's sentence is too light? Do you think it's too strong? Do you think, he should have gotten the death penalty? I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.